I caught my professor plagiarizing my essay, so I let him publish it under his name. I stared at that academic journal, my hands trembling. That's it. My graduation thesis was about algorithmic bias in healthcare word for word and was written under Professor Chen's name. Even the story of my grandmother being misdiagnosed 3 times is there, only now it's his grandmother. I gave it to him 8 months ago. He gave me a booer, saying that it lacked academic seriousness. Now my goal is to win an award at a meeting that I can't attend. My roommate Maya found me crying in front of my laptop. Sue him, report to him, ruin his career. What evidence is there? He has my only copy. I am so stupid I didn't submit it through the university system but through his special LEMD, then confront him. The next day I went to knock on his door. Paid on your publication, professor. He didn't flinch. Thank you, Jessica. It is always satisfying when years of research pay off. How many years? How interesting. You finished it in just 8 months, just after I submitted my thesis. His smile turned cold. Be careful, such accusations will ruin your career. See special. Is this a threat? This is reality. I have tenured positions, awards, and connections. You have student loans, and your transcript is BX. Who do you think they will believe? I knew he was right when I left his office, but I also left with a plan. I began to record everything, every paper submitted by each student to Professor Chen. Sarah's analysis of refugee trauma, David's research on urban food deserts, Hiko's research on the intergenerational wealth gap. Then I waited. 3 months later, Sarah's paper was published in a sociological journal. 2 months later, David's research received a grant. By spring, he had published 6 student papers. I created an anonymous social media account and started posting summaries. Professor Chen's writing style varies so greatly among different papers. His professional knowledge suddenly spans psychology, urban planning, and economics. Academic Twitter has gone viral. People began to compare his publications, noticing different voices, inconsistent methods, and questionable timing. But Professor Chen is very smart. He deleted the original submission, denied everything, and threatened to sue for defamation. The university launched a survey, and we all knew there would be no result at that time. I played the last card. I got in touch with Dr. Emily Arn, his research assistant from 10 years ago. She is now a professor at Stanford University. He did the same thing to you, didn't he? Her silence is the confirmation I need. I kept everything, she said finally. Every email, every draft, every time in SEM, I've been waiting for someone to say it. This matter was exposed in the Chronicle of IL Education. 10 years of deception. How a Professor Prepner, his office on Tole Works 12, former student stepped forward. The evidence is overwhelming, but surprisingly, I asked him to keep my publication. When the reporters asked why, I told them the truth. This paper is about algorithmic bias. That is how systems protect those in power while suppressing marginalized voices. Professor Chen can prove my thesis better than any other research. He is the algorithm. The irony in this has not been overlooked. His award-winning paper on systemic bias became evidence of the bias it described. The university eventually took action. Professor Chen was deprived of his tenure and dismissed. These publications were withdrawn and their correct sources were restored. They have formulated a new policy requiring that all submitted materials be submitted through official channels. I have the opportunity to republish my works under my name. I refused. On the contrary, I wrote a new paper, a case testing of institutional phylor. Professor Chen's former office is now a student advocacy center. They offer free legal consultation for academic disputes. His portrait was removed from the famous Teachers Hall. Last week, I successfully defended my doctoral dissertation at another university. My supervisor, Dr. Ranlott, is sitting in the front row. She specifically recruited me because, as she said, you understand that the combat system requires long-term effort. After the defense, a young college student came to me. Professor, I think my supervisor might be stealing my work. I handed her my business card. Let's talk. Start recording everything today. I heard that he designated his famous plagiarized paper as a must-read, although he never mentioned who wrote it. Sometimes the best revenge is not to destroy a person. Instead, let them know that their greatest achievement has been stolen, and everyone knows